Last time, we analyzed our expenses by category so that it shows exactly where our money goes. But still, it's far from perfect. Imagine this. You check your tracker and realize you blew past your food budget last week. Too late to fix it. That's because our tracker is passive. It only reports what already happened. What if it could catch the problem before it happens? Today, we're going to learn if statements to help us with that. If statements are like the brain of your spreadsheet that can make decisions and warn you when the budget is tight or when a category is over the limit. But first, let's clean up our layout to make better use of our space. Before we dive into if statements, let's warm up with the challenge to test what you've learned so far. Right now, our dashboards are stretched across the top, and it's not that easy to follow. And honestly, it does not look that pretty either. So your task is to flip them vertically so that they are easier to read. Basically, you will need to convert this into this. Pause here and give it a try. You can rebuild it from scratch or copy paste and fix the reference issues that you may run into. Whichever path you take, it's great practice and will boost your confidence. Now, let me first make this formatting consistent by removing the formatting from these cells. To remove the formatting, use the keyboard shortcuts we learned in the past. So I will hit Command and backslash. Great. Then I will move everything down 2 rows to free up some space. So I will cut and paste it here. Now here in K3, type budget warning %, and here in L3 type 80%. This is our warning threshold, which means we want to show some sort of alerts when we spend over 80% of our budget. Great. Now in K4 type budget status, and L4 will be where our alerts will appear. Let's bring in if statements. An if checks a condition and shows one of 2 results. For it to work, we give it 3 inputs in order. The condition, what to show if it's true, and what to show if it's false. Let's see it in action. Here in L1, I will type equals if opening and closing parentheses. Now inside the parentheses, we will add the 3 inputs. The first one is the condition to check, something that can only be true or false. For example, let's check if our total budget in H2 is greater than 400. So type H2 greater than 400. Then add a comma. Great. Now give it the second input, which is what to show if the condition is true. Let's say we want to show high budget. So inside double quotes, type high budget. After the closing quotes, add another comma. Now the third input. Here, we will specify what to show if our condition is false. In this case, we want to show low budget. So type it inside double quotes, low budget. Once done, hit enter. Excellent. So the full formula looks like this. Google Sheets will now check H2. If it's over 400, it shows high budget. If it's 400 or less, meaning it's not greater than 400, it shows low budget. I hope that makes sense. If this wasn't quite clear, please rewind and watch this part again before proceeding. Let's now use an if statement in our budget to warn us when we are overspending. Remember, an if takes in three inputs: the condition to check, what to show if true, and what to show if false. So here in L4, type equals if opening and closing parentheses. Now inside the parentheses, we will add our three inputs. First input is the condition, what we're checking. Let's say we want to check if our spend in L5 is greater than our budget warning percentage in L3 multiplied by our total budget in H2. This means we're checking whether we have already spent 80% of our budget or not. So type L5, that's our total spend, greater than L3, which is our budget warning percent, then multiplied by our initial budget, so type star H2. Now add a comma. Great. Now the second input, which is what to show if the condition is true, meaning what do you want to show if we are overspending. So type two double quotes right away, then inside press Ctrl Command Space on a Mac to open the emoji picker. Choose some sort of warning sign, maybe this one, and type overspending. Then after the closing quote, add a comma. And finally, the third input, what to show if the condition is false, which means what do we want to see if we are still under the warning limit. Again, type two double quotes right away, then inside the quotes, let's choose another emoji. Maybe this time something green. Let's use this check mark, then type on track. Now press enter. Great. Now the sheet automatically checks spending against the threshold. If we go past 400, it shows overspending. But if it's less than or equal to 400, it shows on track. Now let's assign budgets by category. Here in R3, I will type budget allocated %. And for each of the categories, let me quickly insert some random threshold. In F4, I will type 30% for food. This means food gets 30% of the total budget. Let me paste some random percentage for the rest here to save us some time. Great. Now let's add a basic status for each category. In F3, I will type budget status. Let's start with food here in row 4. In F4, type equals if opening and closing parentheses. And now inside the parentheses, we will add the three inputs. First input, the condition. We want to check if the amount in Q4 is greater than the total budget in H2 multiplied by the allocation in R4. So type Q4, that's the amount spent, greater than H2, which is our total budget spent. And yeah, let's make the reference absolute so it does not change when we drag the formula to other cells below. Great. Now multiplied by R4, which is our total allocation %. Now add a comma. Great. Now our second input, what to show if it's true. Type two double quotes, and inside, let's choose a warning emoji. and type over. After the closing quotes, type a comma. Here will be the third input, what to show if false. Type 2 double quotes. Inside, let's choose another emoji. Type OK. And now press enter. So the full formula in S4 looks like this. Now double click to fill in for the rest. Up to now, we've used an if statement to handle just two outcomes, true or false. But in the real world, the sessions aren't always that simple. There might be more than two possible conditions we want to check, because we want to get more than just two alerts. For example, instead of just saying high budget or low budget, we may want different levels of alerts. That's where nested if comes in. Nested if means stacking one if inside another to check for multiple options. This is very similar to the nested formula we saw in the previous episode. Let's see it in action. Here in K1, type budget health as the label. Remove the content in L1 and type equals if opening and closing parentheses. Now inside the parents, we will add our checks. First input, the condition. Let's say we want to check if the remaining budget in L6 is less than 50. That means we're almost out of money. So let's type L6 less than 50. Then add a comma. The second input, what to show if true. Type 2 double quotes and inside choose an emoji and type critical. After the closing quote, type comma. Now the third input, what to do if the first condition is false. This is where we nest another if. So we will just type if opening and closing parentheses. Inside this new if parens, type L6 less than 150. Then add a comma. If this is true, now type 2 double quotes and inside let's pick another emoji and type warning. Then add another comma. If all of the conditions we checked so far is false, now type 2 double quotes and inside pick another emoji and type healthy. Now press enter. So the full formula looks like this. Now our sheet does not just stop at yes or no. It works through the checks one by one. First, it looks to see if the remaining budget in L6 is less than 50. If that is true, it shows critical. And the formula stops right there. But if this first condition is not true, the formula moves on to the next if. It then checks if the remaining budget is less than 150. If that is true, it shows warning and stops. And if this is also not true, the formula finally shows healthy. It's important that you understand how this works. The formula always checks in order. And the first condition that is true becomes the result. Before we finish, I want to leave you with two challenges to try on your own. Challenge 1, high transaction alert. In column J, add a heading called alert. Then, starting from row 3, where our transaction begins, write an if formula that flags any transaction in column G, which is our amount, as high if it's above the average. And here is challenge 2, multi-level category alert. In the column next to the category budget status, add a heading called category alert. Then build a nested if that gives 3 levels of alerts: critical, warning, and normal. based on how much each category is consuming and define the alert levels on your own. You already have everything you need from today's lesson, so pause here, give it a try, and see if you can make it work. If you get stuck, drop a comment and I will help you out. And that's it for if statement. We've built budget alerts, and now you have 2 practice challenges to push it further. If you found this helpful, please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. It really supports the work. Thanks for learning with me today, and see you in the next one. Peace.